wants to dance and drink all night. Well, there's no one that can stop her. She's going till the house lights come up. Her stomach spills on.
Hey, what's going on? It's Mike and Brandon from Tiny Box Vape Shop.
What's up?
And today we're starting part 2 of our video series of how to open a vape shop. So today, Brandon, what we want to talk about is what are we filling our cases with.
Okay.
So what are we filling our cases with? Video 1, we talked about buying cases, getting everything, We estimated about 20 grand for signage, cases, POS systems, storage, all that stuff. So now we got, and we said you should have 40,000 to start. So now we have another 20,000 to play with. So, what's the first thing you think that they should buy to fill the cases, Brando?
Juice, for sure. Definitely juice.
100%, because juice is your reoccurring sale. Always treat juice like it's a reoccurring sale. Never, if you just sold one bottle of juice to a person and you don't have them coming back for more juice, you're losing money.
Yeah.
Do you agree with me on that?
For sure.
How much of our business would you argue is reoccurring sales?
Like overall business-wise?
Overall business. In this month, how much? Our hard number this month will probably be about $40,000. How much of that do you think is reoccurring sales?
Probably 80%.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree. It might be more. It might be a little higher.
Give or take.
But yeah, you want about an 80% reoccurring sale. And the easiest and best and smartest way to do that is right here. We're not saying these particular brands, but these are very popular brands right now. It's your juice.
Very well known.
Yeah, good, well known, good juices. You're gonna want, I would argue, at least 30% of your shelves should have name brands people have heard of. Do you agree?
Yeah, especially just opening up because they need to be familiar with brands. You know what I mean? You can kind of venture to try different things, but you definitely want some like name brands and very well known products so that way people know they're familiar with that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So that way it's an easy sell. It's an easy bump. Boom. Hey, do you have Jam Monster? Hey, do you have
Keep It 100?
Keep It 100. Do you have what's a drip? What is this one called? Bad Drip. Do you have Bad Drip?
Clown.
Yeah, Clown. Do you have that? Yeah, we got it. Boom, boom. Okay. So Brandon would argue you should put between 5 and 10 grand in
Give
juice.
Or take, yeah.
I think at 10 you'd have a pretty nice stocked shop.
Well stocked.
Yeah. With 5 you'll get by, but the problem is you're not going to know which of these are selling.
Yeah.
So the first thing you're going to want to do is find yourself a good vendor. Here's a tip for you. Liquid Wholesalers in Pittsburgh, great vendors.
Awesome people.
Yeah, good people, easy to work with, great pricing. They ship out really quickly. Also, they do a trade program. So in other words, and they don't sell Jam Monster, but let's pretend for a moment they did, and they don't sell Keep It 100 either, but we'll pretend they did as well. So in other words, if I'm selling Jam Monster and it stops selling and I have 12 bottles left of this, rather than me having to mark it down or put it in a $10 bin or something like that, I can just go, hey, I'll pretend you're Josh. Hey, Josh, can I get a trade one of these for a Keep It 100, please?
Yeah, not a problem.
Cool, thank you. And they'll swap you out. Now you have brand new product on there, fresh. Yeah, no questions asked. They just swap it right away. Now you've got fresh product. Boom, you sell that fresh product. Now you got more money.
The best part about it is you're not losing money.
You're not losing money.
You've already spent the money already. And it's a nice way if you can be like, oh, well, this flavor ain't selling. Oh, I need to bring something new in. You can work with those guys, and it'll be very well. You can pull a new flavor in that somebody's never even heard of.
And the best part about it is, if you're putting your initial 5-10 grand behind it, if you spend it all with a vendor who does a trade, it's awesome because now you can just keep
safe money,
flushing that stuff through, and it's safe money. Brandon's correct. It's the safest money, I'll say, because there's no real safe money all the way around. FDA can come in, change the rules. You know, your state might change the rules. Our state changed our rules. We're in Pennsylvania, and they changed our rules to where we have to pay 4 or 5 times, where we have to pay 40% tax on anything we're bringing in that's vape related. Now there's loopholes to that rules, and we can do maybe a side video on that or a talk on that later. But you know, it comes down to, you know, you've got to be ready for losing money, and anything that helps you not lose money, you want to focus on as hard and as fast as you can. Okay, so We're saying 5 to 10 grand on juice.
Yeah.
So now you've got a formula, and the formula for buying juice that we follow is this: we do a 10 and a 5, meaning we'll buy 10 threes and 5 sixes of every flavor. Threes sell more than sixes, correct, Brandon?
Agreed. Threes like the standard.
I say threes is standard, and on top of it, if someone's in a 6,
you can kind of bump to a 3 without too much of an issue.
yeah, if they're in a 6 and you're out of 6, they'll vape a 3. But if somebody's in 3, they're probably not going to vape a 6.
Get them in that 6.
Yeah. So you got to think about that type of thing. Like, okay, and then next is flavor profile.
Yeah, everybody's different.
And every town is different.
Yeah.
Our shop in the town we're in, people love candy. They just love candy. They love sweets. They love fruit. So we sell a lot of candy, a lot of fruit. If you go to Lawrenceville,
You can get like desserts. A lot of people might like cinnamon rolls. They might like French toast crunch, Cocoa Pop, stuff like that. Everybody's different. Everybody's flavor profile is different. So you got to kind of judge. When you first start, you want to kind of do a little bit of both. That way you can kind of see what your clientele more favors. But also keep in mind that it's trendy, so that can change at any given point. You might have somebody come in, it's pretty rare, but it does happen. They're like, oh, I love custards, and then they try a candy or two, and they're like, oh, what have I been missing? So you got to kind of judge that pretty equally at first.
and then there's some that are going to be staples in your shop.
Yeah.
Oh, here comes another one. There's gonna be. Are you kidding me? There's gonna be staples in your shop. I think the reason why we brought out Blue Slush is this is a staple. It just sells and sells and sells, and people will do 5, 6, 7 bottles because most customers are going to want to jump from one bottle to the next bottle to the next bottle. They're going to want to change flavors all the time. When you get a staple where you know this thing burns and it just sells, that's when you can take some big money to a vendor and go, look.
You start bumping up your orders on that.
Yeah, well, I have $7,000 just for this flavor. How low of a price can we get? Because that's what you want is margin. Always be chasing margin.
Yeah.
All right, so after juice, Brandon, and I totally agree with you. I think that, let's recap. Don't forget, you want to get really good vendors. If you can get a buyback vendor, do it.
Yeah.
Especially you want a trade vendor because once again, Brandon said it. It's safe money. Diverse flavors when you're starting out. 100%. I totally agree with you. I'd say 30% pretty heavy name brands that people have heard of, and then going forward, I wouldn't necessarily follow Reddit to see what the juice is. I get samples sent to your shop. People are going to send you samples no matter what. Yeah. Test them with your friends, test them with your coworkers. If you're getting a decent clientele, load them in people's tanks. Like, hey man, can you taste this for me? Tell me what you think. When people say it's fire, buy it. Because here's the trick. You might not have a brand that everybody else is selling the exact same brand, but if yours tastes better than everybody, you're going to get that recurring customer. One thing we sell that I don't know why no one sells is watermelon pop clouds. It's the best watermelon. Yeah, it's the best watermelon on the market, and we have customers who come here just for this. Yeah. Now, if I was our competition, I'd start selling it too, but they don't. You start selling something that no one else sells, and people will go there if it tastes really good. Okay. Yeah. Secondarily, Brandon, where would you spend the rest of that $20,000?
Coils.
That's right. I totally agree with you on coils. Now, here's the trick: is let's say we spent $6,500 on juice. That'll get you a decent way to be full. Remember, you're going to be re-upping that juice all the time. But secondarily, you want coils. Now, Brandon, I don't know. I played a little trick here, and I'm going to see if you can figure out the trick. What's the one thing you notice about these coils?
The one thing I notice about these coils.
Yeah, louder. What's the one thing you notice about these coils?
We don't sell either one of those tanks.
That's right. We don't sell any of these tanks. We don't sell all 3 of these tanks. We do not sell. So why would we carry the coil if we don't carry the tank, Brandon?
Because people have different tanks. You never know exactly what tank's gonna walk through the door. You know what I mean? I mean, some of your customers will come in and get tanks from you, so it's easier to be like, oh yeah, I have coils for the tank that I got. But you're going to have a lot of new customers come in that never been to your shop and don't have a tank that you sell. So
they're going to come in.
Coils is always a good thing.
That's it. They're going to come in and say, hey, do you have a coil for the Falcon? No, sorry, bro. All right, see you later. And then they'll walk out. You know what I mean? Hey, do you have a coil for the Falcon? Yeah, you know what? I do have a coil for the Falcon. Give me a sec. I got to find them. I know they're in the back. Hey, why don't you taste some juice while I'm going back there? And you put some juice in front of them, let them taste it. Because once they taste that banging juice, Oh my gosh.
This is awesome. You have one of those as well? And that's how you form a customer, a reoccurring customer.
That's it. Yeah, and eventually you'll get them out of that tank anyways, because you're gonna want to sell tanks that work really well. Mm-hmm. The trick is that you're gonna put some decent money behind the coils, but once again, Brandon's right. You make your money on juice, and then secondarily, you make your money on coils. You're gonna need a coil a week, no matter who you are. You know, people say, "Oh, my coil lasts 4 months." You're lying. You're not vaping. Your coil's going to burn out in a week. And that's if you're not using a smock device. If you're using a smock device, you're getting 3 days on that coil.
If lucky.
Yeah. So carry them coils, carry that juice, and now we're probably at 13 or 14,000. So we've got roughly another $6,000 to spend. And where would you put that, Brando?
I'd slowly start doing some research on different devices. Devices are going to be, I'd say, probably maybe 10 to 15% of your sales. And that sounds crazy because a lot of people are like, oh, new mods. But let's be realistic. How often do you buy a new mod?
You buy a new mod maybe once a year. It's kind of like a cell phone. You might get them every 2 years.
Yeah.
But before I get mods, which I agree with Brando, I'd put some money behind these.
Batteries.
You know what I mean? 18650 batteries, buy a ton of them. Buy as many as you can get your hands on. And I wouldn't spend more than $2,000 on 18650 batteries, but I would spend $2,000 on 18650 batteries because if anything, that's a free sale.
And they always need batteries.
People always need batteries.
Selling a device, they're going to need batteries.
If somebody comes in, hey, do you have batteries? Because I left my batteries at home. Batteries get old. You know, you might not want to wrap batteries when you're first starting. Get batteries. Make sure you have your batteries. Yeah. Because if you don't, and it happened. Yeah, well, it happened to me before where I remember one time I sold a mod and I didn't have batteries for it.
Ooh.
Yeah. And once again, these are the old days when it was really hard to get batteries. I had to buy from a battery distributor.
Yeah.
Like distributors didn't sell. Yeah, they didn't sell batteries yet. Like I couldn't just go to our regular guys now and order batteries like we do. I had to order from a guy who sold 18650 batteries for industrial products. You know.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's easy. You can get your batteries in a couple days.
Almost every vendor has them.
Yeah. So make sure you get your batteries. Now. Starting out, your margins aren't going to be as high as you want them to be because in your mind you're like, how much does it make? How much does it make? We make a lot. Trust me, we make a lot of money. A lot of times I'll throw out what Brandon gets paid here just to kind of tell people how much money we make. I won't do that on the World Wide Web, but I'll say that Brandon's in the at least 25th percentile of people in the he makes as much money as a college graduate and he didn't graduate from high school, so like he makes a lot of money here. Now granted, we'll talk about staff and paying in the next video because you want to make sure your staff is taken care of, because if they're not, man, you won't have a tiny box staff, and we have the best staff. So you know, your margins are going to come eventually, but starting out you're going to pay a little more for your bottle. Why? Well, because you don't have that much to sway a company to lower their price.
You don't have the buying power as of just yet.
Yeah.
And you got to fill out the market. You know what I mean? You got to fill out. You're going to have vendors call you left and right. But you got to kind of weed them out. You got to use your discretion and kind of see who wants to work with you.
Yeah, who wants to work with you? Who wants to give you better pricing?
Pricing is key.
Yeah. Because if you're not getting good pricing, you're not going to be able to make the money that you're going to need.
And opening a business, your goal is to make money.
That's your only goal, is to make money. I'm grabbing my juice. And tarts, this is one of my favorite juices, by the way. I love this stuff. Next, how much should you mark up? Okay, well, we run on what's called a keystone margin. Keystone margin. And every small business should run on a keystone margin, meaning the minimum you want to earn is a 100% markup on a device. Or on juice, or on coils, or on batteries.
Really?
Yeah. Now we'll take a hit on our coils. We'll do slightly under that on our coils because it's a hook. You know, we're hooking you into buying other stuff that we're getting better margin on.
Yeah.
But always start with that. Always start with the idea of I need at least 100% markup. So if you're buying a bottle for $12, you need to be able to sell that bottle for $24. And if you cannot sell that bottle for $24, do not buy that bottle. And I don't care what they tell you it's made of. I don't care if they say it's got Smurf semen in it. I don't care if they say that it's
half gold.
Yeah, it's pixie, whatever it is.
It don't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because the money. Because if you're not getting money, stop watching this video.
Yeah, it don't matter. You're like, why are you there?
All right. Lastly, we're going to talk about what you guys think, what you think of when you think of a vape shop, and that's the actual vapes, mods. Do your reviews. Do
tons of reviews.
Yeah. Vaping Heathen, that dude, he's legit. I think he's pretty legit. Vaping with Vic in England, a lot of those European guys, they're pretty legit. I'm not talking trash on American guys, but there's a lot of American guys that I don't trust. Do you agree with me?
Yeah.
I like watching them. They're fun to watch. They're good entertainment. But they say every mod's amazing. They say every mod's good, and I've fallen for it.
It's not the
Yeah,
case.
but when I first opened, I'd be like, oh yeah. If you're doing a review, a good person to look for a review is someone who owns a shop already.
Yeah.
You know, there's that guy in New York that's really obnoxious. He has his motorcycle in all his videos. I can't remember his name. You know what I'm talking about. He's pretty legit though, because he owns a shop.
He's honest.
Yeah, so and that's what you want. You want somebody honest. If you want entertainment, then yeah, watch everybody else. That's fine. If you want honest, if you want what am I going to sell, watch reviews from people who own shops, because they might not be first to the market with like, hey, this is the latest and greatest, but they'll tell you what sells. They'll tell you what breaks. They'll tell you what isn't.
One of the key things that everybody fails for is when they watch their the videos, they always look for the positives and the positives and positives. In my case, I like to look for the negatives
100%.
because you never know if you sell that device and somebody comes back and there's an issue and you don't know what's going on, that's a problem. So if you look for the flaws and go, okay, well, this is the flaws, and you narrow it down, they're like, oh, these are not so bad, but they can be workable. Then you start looking at the positives.
Next, test your mod for 2 weeks before you sell it.
Yep.
Buy a mod, use it yourself. You'll know all the quirks, so that way when somebody buys it, boom.
Little tips and little tricks.
Yeah. Another thing is well, I'm gonna keep buying mods because I keep testing mods. Yeah, you will, but guess what? Your tester system will look dope because you'll just have all these mods. Throw a tank on it, throw the juice in it, boom. Now they can
mods
test.
all the time.
Yeah. And then also you'll have the mods you're selling in your tester system. So if somebody says, "Wow, I like that mod. That looks really cool. Here, try it. Boom, try it."
And that's the wow factor.
Yeah.
They know exactly what they're buying at that point.
Once it's in their hand, they're like,
know.
"Wow, I really like
This
this."
feels right.
They're gonna pull the trigger.
I work all day. Let me put this in my pocket. They know. You know what I mean? Think about the first time when you went to buy a mod. And the very first time you bought your very first mod. How many mods did you go through when you first bought it?
Oh yeah.
A lot. You know what I mean?
The next thing is, I would also, when you're buying mods, I put at least 40% of your money into Old Faithfuls. So we've got these old school RX Relows. We have these old school D3s. So what do we do with them? We put some really cool skins on them, and if you want to get a really good skin at a really good price, you can go to Vapor Skins. Go on Facebook, look up Vapor Skins. The guy's called Miguel that runs the company.
Awesome.
Super legit guy. Sells you at a really nice margin, but you have to sell these skins for $13 once you get them off him. But you make very, very nice margin off of Miguel, especially if you're buying in bulk.
Yeah.
So just look for what's hip. You know, Harley Quinn is hip right now. That's why we wrapped it. Rick and Morty. Yeah, very, very hip. That's why we wrapped it. This one right here, R2D2 mod, very hip. That's why we wrapped it.
When it comes to like customizing your mods, you can kind of follow a little bit of the trends.
Just the trends, yeah.
Just follow the trends.
Don't come up with some dummy. Don't be a dummy like, oh well, if Brandon likes Tech 9, let's get Tech 9 mods. No, nobody likes that guy, but Brandon. Everybody likes R2D2. What's your other one, Brando, that you got to show everybody? We've got this Iron Man. You know what I mean? Who doesn't like Marvel? You know what I mean? Just go trendy, man. Don't get hip.
And you
Just
also want to kind of keep some professional looking ones too, because you don't know your clientele. You know what I mean? You see every walks of life come through your door.
Something for the ladies.
Yeah, something for the ladies, something for the professional guys,
That's
something for
it.
the professional ladies. You gotta have
100%.
a variety when it comes to like your mods, because you can follow trends safely-ish with mod style, but not the mod itself.
That's true, 100%. You find a reliable mod, then you can just
You can customize it any way you want.
customize it any way you want, and it looks like you have a sweet custom mod in your shop. But I say go at least 30 to 40% tested reliable mods, and here's a list of them. The IPV D3, 100%, and it's an older mod, but it's 100%. It's not going to break down. The Vupu Drag, not the Drag 2, the Vupu Drag 1, 100%. That thing's not going to break. The Evic VT from Joytech, the original one, not the Primo, 100%. That thing's going to give somebody a year and a half
Single
battery
battery
life.
one.
Yeah, single battery. The Relo RX200, the original one, 100%.
Not the 2.3.
No, not the 2.3, the original one. 100% doesn't break.
Yep.
The Aegis mod is a newer mod, but 100% this thing, it just doesn't break.
Solid.
This Ringco mod right here that I've been using, the Manto X, doesn't break. You want mods that don't break because you don't want customers coming back yelling
Yep.
at you.
And you don't want them to return.
The one company I will stay away from when it comes to mods, 100%. Brandon, what is that company?
Smock.
100% stay away from Smock. They suck. Every one of their mods breaks. And if you say, oh, well, I've got one that didn't break, yes,
You have the one lucky.
Yeah, you have one that didn't break. Everybody else will tell you Smock breaks. Don't carry it.
And they look nice. They do. They look catchy. They look all up to the trend. But at the same time, it's like,
What do you want? You want something that looks nice? You
you're
want something that
putting money
works
behind a
nice?
mod. It's an investment.
Yeah.
It really is. You want to replace that mod every couple months?
No.
Not really.
Okay. So now that we've established where we're putting most of our bread and butter, lastly are the trends. So you're going to put, I wouldn't put any more than $1,000 behind the trends.
Yeah.
So $1,000 between wick wire, between cotton,
Pre-built
between
coils.
pre-built coils, between RDAs, between RTAs. I wouldn't put more than $1,000 behind that. Now you might be a big time vapor and think, no, everybody's going to build. No, they're not. Everybody's going to drip. No, they're not. Everybody's going to want to build this way. No, they're not. Put $1,000 behind it so you have something to sell, but don't put any real money behind it. Then the second thing I would put $1,000 behind is the pod systems. I put $1,000 behind the pod systems. Find yourself a good, reliable pod system that doesn't break.
Yep.
Buy a stack of them in a bunch of different colors, maybe 20. Whoever your vendor is, if he has juice, ask him if they make it in the salt and buy 2 bottles.
Yep.
Maybe 50 milligrams, maybe 2 and 25, 2 and 50, but that's the most.
Yep.
And here's why. This makes you no money. A 30 mil of salt juice will last somebody 2 weeks. 100 mil, yeah, or a month.
Or a month.
100 mil of 80-20 premium will last somebody 1 week. You will sell this between $27 and $32. You will sell your salt for between $18 and $22. So you're getting $18 to $22 off that one guy
A month.
once a month. Maybe once every 2 weeks. Maybe once every 2 weeks. Versus this guy, you're getting $27 to $32 every week. Every week. Every
I'd
week.
probably go as far as trying to find something that's like a refillable pod system itself.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, I personally would not sell jewels.
No.
If you're starting out and you want to be able to have something that you can give somebody because they have a jewel, that's up to you.
That's fair.
But more realistically, you just need to learn how to sell. Someone comes in with a jewel, that thing sucks. You need this instead. That thing sucks. You need this instead. If you can really sell, I promise you this. These guys that work here at this place, they can sell. These guys can sell. We have a championship belt here for a reason, because they're salesmen. Someone comes in looking for a jewel, they walk out with this. And I'm not kidding you. 99% of the time, they walk out with this. You know why? Because we want this. We want them buying this.
See that reoccurring.
So lastly, I put maybe $1,000 into pod systems. So what you want to do is find a good pod system that actually works. Buy a stack of them. Don't buy a ton of them, and here's why. They're very trendy. They move really quick with the times. If you buy 12 different types of pod systems, that means you have to have 12 different types of refill pods.
Add up quick.
Yeah, and when that one's not trendy anymore, no one's buying those pods anymore. You're stuck with them. So I would get one type of pod, and the reason being is if you have 20 different types of pods, you're going to have 20 different replacement pods. And these things are trendy. So next week, they're going to be like, hey, do you have the new,
Blah, blah.
yeah, iShare,
it is.
or I'm trying to remember who's the guy that makes the big one. Whatever it is, because we don't sell a lot of pods. We sell almost no pods and no salt. And you want to be the same way. I would sell next to no pods and no salt. Once again, argue with us all you want. We're making $32 a week off of one customer. You're making $22 a month off that same customer. Why? There's no reason. Yeah. Learn how to sell. You're a salesman. I know you just want to open a vape shop and hang out with your friends and play video games and go to the strip club. You're wrong.
Business.
You're wrong. You're a salesman. He's a salesman. Everyone that works here is a salesman. That's our first job, is to be salesmen. If you've never been a salesman before, you might want a salesman job before you open a vape shop. If you are a salesman that opens a vape shop, train all your staff to be salesmen. And we'll talk about that in the next video, but that involves commission, vape shop owner. If you want your guy to want to sell more, don't you agree with me though? Like if I want you to sell more and you're like, I can sell him this $22 pod, or I can sell him this $200 out the door system. You know what I mean? Well, guess what Brandon's getting paid more on? Because I don't say, well, it's $22, so guess what, Brandon? I'm going to pay you the whole $22 on this pod. No. For what this pod sells, he's going to get paid more on commission for this one. So what is he's not dumb. Like, okay, make sure that you are a salesman. If you're a salesman, everything we've laid out so far are very good rudiments to open a vape shop. Yep. You've got your place, you've got your cases, you've got your POS system. Now you've got your juice, now you've got your mods, now you have your odds and ends. And I'm telling you, do not spend more than $2,000 on odds and ends. So when I'm talking about wick, wire, pre-built coils, wire cutters, that's also vape bands. Yeah. That's also drip tips. You know, these little things like this, just little drip tip, a vape band, things like that.
Little accessories.
The reason why you want those little accessories gives you a bump on your sale. But a lot of times people want them.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to
customize and make it look unique.
Or they don't want to break their glass. I want a different vape band.
Yeah.
Replacement glass, like these cool bubble glasses. You know, hey, I want a bubble glass. But guess what? We sell this bubble glass for $10. You think Brandon's not trying to get them out the door as fast as possible? That's an extra $10 on his thing that he can. That's bumping towards his commission. So
you want to be surrounded with good people.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You got to take care of your people for them to take care of you.
And we'll talk about that in the next video. But right now, just remember all those steps and remember how we spent that money, this theoretical money that we're talking about. That'll get you to about $20,000 pretty quickly. You won't realize it, but once you got your gear, I'd say for your mods, you're going to want at least 8 pieces each. You're going to want a starter mod that's going to be like a 75 water. You might want an internal battery starting mod that's a 75 water, and then you're going to want a couple 200 waters. You know what I mean? Personally, I'd stay away from the DNAs. I'd stay away from,
trendy.
Yeah. I'd also stay away from the hexomes. I'd also stay away from the wicked ants. Those are very, very nice mods. It's hard to sell a $500 just mod. It's hard to sell an $800 just mod. You might have that market though. If you have that market, buy it, sell it.
Yeah.
A lot of us don't have that market. Most of us don't have that market.
The average vape shop though.
Yeah. So that's about it. Brandon, can you think of anything else just to fill your cases?
No, I think we pretty much summed that up for the most part. You got your accessories, you got your juice, you got your coils, you got a couple mods under your belt. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, one of the things you might want to take into consideration on startup costs is maybe if you can do it within your budget, maybe pay the rent of your location up a couple months in advance just to kind of give you a little bit of leeway to kind of wait.
Yeah, I would.
You know what I mean? If you can do it, that would be one of the best options.
Yeah, we talked about that in the first video. Is being able to pay up a year in your rent, because your first 6 months you're not making a lot of money, and you're seeing a lot of weirdos, and it's really hard. But if you follow this formula, you're gonna make some money. You agree with me?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, you'll make some good money. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. We'll talk to you next time. See you later.